Hello everyone, my name is Ponnaluri. I'm here to present to you the results of my work and research on the Voynich manuscript. There's a publication that is coming up fairly soon in the Cyptologia, and the title of the paper is going to be "The Voynich manuscript was written in a single natural language." The abstract essentially goes into the objectives of this work and notes that the Voynich manuscript, or MS-408, which is preserved in Yale University's Voynich library, was obviously acquired by Wilfrid Voynich in the year 1912. This unreadable bound vellum contains folios with illustrations of plants, astronomical and astrological diagrams with female images and large volume of text. Linguists, paleographers, historians, and general enthusiasts have attempted to decipher this text. This work that I have conducted focuses on the structure of the words within the VM, with a focus on the 2-language and 5-scribe theories of Courier and Davis respectively. There are two main objectives of this work. The first is to examine Courier's claim of 2 languages drawn from 2 hands and Davis's paleographic evidence that there were 5 scribes who authored this volume. The other is to evaluate if the Voynich manuscript contains writing in a natural language or if it happens to be just gibberish. Following a comprehensive analysis that I conducted of the word types, the word tokens, the ranks, characters, placement, and frequencies, my work proceeds to demonstrate that there is no evidence for 2 languages or dialects. Secondly, with the aid of Ziff's law, the brevity and Heap's laws, my work shows that the Voynich manuscript contains a natural language, as noted by Landini, Reddy and Knight, Bowen and Lindenman, and others too. Word token analysis suggests that scribes 1 through 4 must have distributed the workload equitably, and that scribe 5 may have been a late entrant. Secondly, I begin this paper with a brief introduction to the Voynich manuscript and its provenance. The goal is not to go or delve into details, since this has been covered by experts in the field and of course on this YouTube. I do provide references to scholarly works, especially with respect to the 2 objectives as I stated before. The next thing I do is to explain the data set in detail that I have utilized to conduct this analysis. In particular, the IVTFF V101 file structure that was drawn from Dr. Zandbergen's voynich.nu. I explain how the data are filtered and prepared for the in-depth statistical analysis which I conducted. Next, I performed a macro analysis of the text by the 5 scribes described by Dr. Davis. She conducted an in-depth paleographic analysis of the text and has essentially shown us that the 5 scribes have authored specific folios, and she names all of them. I utilize this 5 scribe structure to explore and test the 2 hypotheses that I mentioned earlier, to achieve the goals of the 2 objectives I mentioned earlier. Next, I show that scribes 1, 2, and 3 have composed about 28 to 32% of the text each, while scribes 4 and 5 contributed 9% and 2% of the text respectively. Scribe 4 had actually spent a lot of time on drawing the star diagrams and other sketches, and therefore he or she may have contributed less text, but effort was just about the same as scribes 1 through 3. Scribe 5, on the other hand, appears to be a late entrant for reasons we do not know. Possibly one of the other 4 scribes may have passed away and we do not know about that, but scribe 5 contributed the least of the text in the Voynich manuscript. Next, I delve into the word types, the word tokens, the type to token ratio, the word lengths, and the character set that were used by each scribe. I then provide an in-depth analysis and insights to support the hypothesis that I noted earlier. The next thing I did was to conduct a detailed rank analysis by the word types by each scribe, including a detailed analysis of the word choices which these 5 scribes have made. The fascinating exercise with this in-depth statistical analysis proved that they all have drawn from the same language, though their word choices were different, just as any of us would do. We all use our languages, but we choose our own words, essentially from the same knowledge base. I believe that the same thing has happened with all the 5 scribes, and therefore I do not see any evidence of 2 languages, just that there's one language out there in the Voynich manuscript. Next, I performed a character level analysis of the entire Voynich manuscript, and I show that the scribes used characters in just about the same order or the rank. In other words, the first letter was used essentially to the maximum extent possible by all the 5 scribes, etc. And then I conducted what is called a character to token ratio, or CTR, for each letter. And I show that the 5 scribes were writing from essentially the same language as I said before. And all this analysis is shown in the paper. When you have a chance, please read that. I conducted an in-depth analysis to test the Voynich manuscript against Zipf's law, which essentially states that the frequency of a word in any corpus can be shown as being inversely proportional to the rank of that specific word. I demonstrate for each of the 5 scribes that the Zipf's law has definitely applied in each instance. Next, I utilize the brevity's law, which essentially states that, and it is applied in linguistics, which states that the more frequently a word is used, the shorter that word length happens to be. And I show that and demonstrate that this particular characteristic appears in the Voynich manuscript with all the 5 scribes. And then I also applied the Heap's law, which is also called the Herden's law, which illustrates that the type token relationship, and I demonstrate that the Heap's law also has been successfully applied, or applies, I should say, to the Voynich manuscript with all the 5 scribes. Then I layered the Zipfs of the Voynich manuscript letters against the English letters and show that essentially they follow the same frequency distribution. Quite honestly, the correlation was 0.98, or a near perfect correlation, indicating that Voynich manuscript has to be a natural language and it is not a hoax. Then I conducted a detailed position analysis, or character position analysis, of the Voynich manuscript for the top 10 characters and for each of the 5 scribes. This fascinating exercise shows that this work cannot be a hoax, and it follows the pattern of a natural language. And then I went ahead and summarized the entire work to prove that the 2 objectives have been met, in that this is a single language and that it is a natural language. I hope you will enjoy this work. I tried to provide as many references as possible in the form of literature review for you to get some idea on this what this Voynich manuscript stands for, and hopefully you'll have a chance to go through it and let me know how you feel about it. I do conclude that the Voynich manuscript is in a single natural language.